Hey friend, quick question. Have you ever said yes to something that you didn't have time for and then felt instantly annoyed? Not at the person who asked you, but at yourself for saying yes to something again. If that's you, you're not weak. You are just a very kind person. And you've probably been carrying more than you should for a long time. Today we're talking about boundaries without guilt. How to say no without feeling mean, how to stop over-explaining, and what to say when someone pushes back. Because your life is honestly not a community donation. And this year, your piece gets to be part of that plan. Welcome to the Lead with Spark podcast, the show where real women lead with authenticity, show up with presence, and live out their purpose. I'm Lindsay Mulder, speaker, C-suite executive, family gal, travel junkie, and a firm believer that your leadership starts from within. Around here, we go beyond the fluff. We talk about the real stuff no one teaches you in leadership training. Your values, your superpower strengths, boundaries to stop burnout, and how to quit being the chaos coordinator of your own life. Whether you're building a business, leading a team, or just trying to stop feeling stuck in the daily grind, this is your space to get clear, get aligned, and finally lead with confidence. So let's cut the noise and reconnect with the spark that makes you, you. Let's go get our spark on. Hey, welcome back to Lead with Spark. I am so glad that you are here because today we're talking about boundaries without guilt. That thing that we all honestly really suck at, saying no. And I need you to hear me on this right out of the gate. If your boundaries feel hard for you, it is because you're wired to care. You're dependable, you're thoughtful, you're the one person that people can count on. And while that is a beautiful quality, it also makes you the easiest person to overload, especially this time of year. Because January is basically when the world wakes up and says, all right, everybody, start fresh, new goals, new energy. Now go do 47 things immediately and take your best friends along with you. Pull in those coworkers. And somehow you become the person that everyone thinks has room for just one more thing. So if you're feeling a little bit tired already, you're not crazy. You're just living in real life. And this episode is going to help you protect your peace without having to become cold, harsh, or difficult. The goal is not to become a new personality, someone that doesn't feel right, inauthentic. Our goal is to become a woman who can say no and still sleep at night. Now, if you've ever said yes to something and you didn't even want to, and then you spent the next 3 hours being mad at yourself, yep, been there, done that. This is for you. I'm right there with you. Because like me, you probably struggle with being capable, right? You're the helper, the fixer. Then, oh, it's fine. I've got it. I can work it in. You're the one who can pull off miracles while looking calm on the outside. And the problem is, when you're that person, people start assuming that you have unlimited capacity. But you don't. You're not a robot. You're not a bottomless well. And your life is not a community donation. You physically cannot take it all and do it all. So let's talk about those boundaries. And more importantly, let's talk about why guilt shows up when you set them. Because guilt is the part that makes you, a smart woman, cave. Here's the truth. Guilt does not mean your boundary is wrong. Guilt usually means that your boundary is new. Guilt is not a stop sign, it's a growing pain. A lot of us were raised, either directly or indirectly, to be agreeable, helpful, low maintenance, easy to work with. The one person who will just handle it. And when you've lived that way for a long time, boundaries can feel like you're doing something wrong, even when you're actually doing something healthy. So if you've ever felt that little inner panic when you're about to say no, like, you know what it is, your nervous system starts screaming at you, we're going to disappoint someone and we will not survive. I get it. But here's what I want you to remember. If you don't create boundaries, your life will create consequences. And consequences are basically boundaries. They're just with a lot more drama. Burnout, resentment, you get snappy. All of a sudden you're exhausted or you're overwhelmed. You start crying over something tiny and then wonder, what on earth is wrong with me? Nothing is wrong with you. You're just overdue for a boundary reset. I've been there. I've been that person who felt like they could and should do it all of a sudden just completely broke down. The tears were coming, and I couldn't quite figure out why. I was just overdue, just like you might be right now. So let's clear something up. Boundaries are not controlling other people. They're not about punishing anyone. They're not about being a cold, hard person. They're not about being unavailable or making you feel like you're going to stop caring about someone. A boundary is simply this. You decide what you're available for and what you're not. That's it. Boundaries are not walls. They're doors with locks. They allow us to make sure that we're saying yes to the most important things in our life. You're still kind. You're still you. You're just not accessible 24/7 with unlimited capacity. Now, here's why boundaries matter so much. Because honestly, without boundaries, your generosity turns into overgiving, and overgiving turns into resentment, and resentment turns into you fantasizing about moving into a little cabin in the woods where your phone doesn't work and no one can find you, which honestly sounds a little bit peaceful. But I think we'll try boundaries first because I love my family and my friends and my coworkers, so let's just make sure that we can still hang out with them. Let's talk about the real reason that guilt shows up when you start drawing lines. Most guilt comes from 3 places. First, you were rewarded for being easy. You were the team player, the "oh, she never complains," the "okay, yes, I can figure it out" person. So now when you set a boundary, it feels like you're breaking your own rule, the one that you followed for your entire life. The second reason is that you feel a boundary equals rejection. Like if you say no, you're saying, "Oh, I don't care, I don't love you enough," or "I don't want to help you." But that's not what you're saying. You're saying, "I care about what matters most, and I'm protecting it." The third reason that guilt shows up, you think boundaries have to sound mean. Like you have to turn into a corporate robot with 0 feelings. Reality is, you don't. You can set boundaries with warmth and still be taken seriously. That's what we're doing today. I teach a simple framework that works beautifully for women who want to be kind, respected, and clear. It's this: kind, clear, consistent. If you can do those 3 things, boundaries get so much easier. Let's break it down. Kind does not mean that you have to over-explain. Kind does not mean that you apologize 17 times. Kind simply means that you communicate with respect. Kind sounds something like this: "Thank you for thinking of me. I appreciate you reaching out. Oh, I'm honored you asked." That's kind. The second step, clear, means that you actually answer the question. And I'm going to say this gently. A lot of women use kindness as a loophole to avoid clarity. We say 10 nice sentences, but we never actually say no. So the other person is thinking that you agreed, and then you walk away and you realize, uh-oh, I'm trapped. Clear sounds like, "That's not going to work for me. I'm not able to take that on. Ooh, I'm at capacity." You see, clarity is not rude. Clarity is leadership. And then we have the last piece of building that boundary: consistent. Consistency is where boundaries become real, because if you say no today and yes tomorrow, then you taught people that your no is a negotiable. I know this is the part that feels really uncomfortable, but listen, disappointing someone doesn't automatically mean that you did something wrong. It usually means that you made a decision that protects your life. Now, before I give you some scripts, I want you to understand this. Boundaries aren't only about time. There are many, many different types of boundaries. And when you know what kind that you need, everything in your life starts to get easier. The most common boundaries that I set for myself and that I hope you set for yourself are time boundaries. Those are the boundaries that protect your schedule. Communication boundaries, those are the ones that protect access to you and who you are. And then, of course, we've got workload boundaries, protecting your priorities, the things that you've already committed to, making sure that you can deliver and commit on time with excellent quality. As women, emotional boundaries are critical. They protect our inner peace. And then the one that I have added and I'm really focusing on this year is energy boundaries. Those are the ones that protect our capacity, allow us to be able to live with spark at the highest energy possible. And if you're sitting there thinking, okay, Lindsay, I get it. I get the framework, but I still don't know what to say. Perfect. Let's get practical. But first, I do want to pause for just a second because I want you to actually use this episode, not just nod along while you're driving. If you want help picking your boundary and having the exact words ready when you need them, I made you something. I created a free Boundaries Without Guilt worksheet with the kind plus clear plus consistent framework. The scripts that I'm about to share are included, and there's space for a simple plan to choose one boundary and practice it this week in the next 7 days. Grab it in the show notes. It's only going to take you 2 minutes to fill out, but it's going to save you 47 minutes from spiraling later to the thing that you said yes to. Okay, back to it. Now I'm going to give you scripts that you can borrow word for word because you don't need to recreate the wheel. Wheels are already invented, so let's use them. Okay, here's one of my favorite work boundaries. Thank you for thinking of me. I'm currently at capacity, so I won't be able to take this on. Simple, calm, not dramatic, no explanation needed. Here's another one that's extremely powerful when you're overloaded. Yes, I can help with that. What would you like me to deprioritize to make room for it? That one makes reality show up in the conversation because you're not saying no to be difficult. You're saying yes to what's already on your plate and asking for prioritization to make sure that you're working on the most important things. Here's one. Circle back with me in a few weeks and we can revisit. That's one that I consider a not now boundary, meaning, yes, I want to do it. I'm excited about it, but right now I need to finish the tasks on my plate and then I can deliver that with excellence. What does your calendar look like right now? Is it a mess with meetings overlapping and backed up against each other? Maybe you even have a few hours where you have 2 to 3 meetings scheduled at the same time. It is hard to play the game of Tetris with your schedule. So here's a meeting boundary. I'm protecting focus time right now. Can you send me the top 3 questions by email instead of meeting? You would be amazed at how many urgent meetings don't need to exist once you say that. They send you the email, you're able to reply, answer the questions, and that 30 or 60 is freed up on your calendar. Another boundary to consider is a timeline boundary. Hey, I can deliver this by Friday. If you need it sooner, we'll need to adjust scope or shift priorities. That's a boundary with options. It's not defensive. It's not apologetic. It's facts. It's true. It allows the other person to really consider what you have on your calendar and think about the scope of what's absolutely needed or if they need to help you understand the priority of their ask. Communication and responsiveness boundaries can be set with emails, they can be sent with autoresponders, and they can even be set with your voicemail. Something like, hey, if I don't immediately respond, I will, I promise. If something's urgent, text me. That tells people I'm busy, I'm working, but you can still get a hold of me if it's absolutely urgent. You're not responsible for everyone else's nervous system. Their priority does not have to be your priority. These same types of scripts apply at home because you can be the best leader at work and then still be drowning at home because everyone expects your availability 24/7. We've talked about the fact that there is no more work-life balance. It's work-life alignment. We can use technology to set up our home boundaries. You can set up auto text reminders. You can change your voicemail. It might say something like, I'm off my phone right now, but I'll respond later. It tells people, hey, I'm intentionally taking time for me, my family, my friends, whatever it might be. Another after-hours boundary script is, that sounds fun, but I'm keeping this weekend clear to reset, so I'm going to pass. And listen, if you're someone who tends to agree just because you don't want to disappoint people or you feel like you don't want to miss out, I want you to practice this. Let me check my schedule and get back to you. That one sentence will change your life. It gives your mind a pause, and boundaries are built in the pause. When you take the time to actually think about it, you can look at your energy and see if you're going to have enough energy to participate. You can look at the other things that you've committed to and make sure that you're not going to run yourself ragged. It allows you to think through the full request on what would I be saying no to if I said yes. Here's one for emotional boundaries. When somebody wants to process something heavy and you just don't have the capacity, it's okay to say, I love you, but I am not in the space to process this deeply tonight. Can we talk about it tomorrow? That's kind, that's clear, that's authentic, that's showing that you care about them and you really want to give them the time that they need. That's leadership. I also want to give you a quick script if you're one of those people who feels like you need to explain everything, because you don't. Simply say, I'm not available for that, but I'm cheering you on. It's short, it's sweet, it's warm. It lets them know that you care, but you do not have to give everyone an explanation for why you're choosing something else in your life. Now let's talk about the hardest part, holding the boundary when someone pushes back, because that usually causes us to cave. It's not the request, it's the emotional response, the feelings that start to build up inside of you, the things that your mind starts to tell you. Ooh, they're going to be disappointed. I don't want them to be irritated. What if they're not my friend anymore? Oh no, they went quiet. All of those little things make us suddenly feel like we're responsible for regulating the other person's feelings. So I want you to hear me. Other people's emotions are not your job to manage. Your job is to be respectful and clear. Their job is to process it. So when somebody pushes back, you can use what I call the broken record method. You calmly repeat your boundary. Here's what can happen. You state your boundary. I'm not available for that. They come back with, oh, come on, it's just an hour. Your response is repeating that back. I hear you. I'm still not available for that. That's it. You don't defend it. You don't over-explain. You don't negotiate with guilt. If you want to soften it without changing it, you can add, I know that might be frustrating and I appreciate your understanding. But you don't change the boundary, because boundaries without consistency are just suggestions. And your life doesn't need more suggestions. Now here's the mindset shift that makes boundaries feel easier to hold. As I said, every yes is also a no. When you say yes to that last minute meeting, you're saying no to focus time. When you say yes to the extra project, you say no to rest. When you say yes to helping everyone else, you are saying no to your own goals. So here's the question I want you to ask yourself this week. What are you saying no to every time that you say yes? I'm not asking this to shame you. I'm asking you this because I want you to be aware of it. Your life is built one little decision at a time. And I want you to build a life that actually matches what you say you want. Now, before we close, I want you to choose one boundary to practice this week. Not 10, just one. Pick the one that will protect your spark in this season. Maybe it's, I'm not going to take a meeting before 9 a.m. I don't work after 6 p.m. I don't say yes on the spot. I pause and take 24 hours. I check email only twice a day. I don't do meetings without an agenda. I don't respond to texts during family time. Choose one. Make it specific. Because I'm going to have better boundaries this year is inspirational, but it's not actionable. And I don't think that you listen to this podcast just for good vibes. I think that you're here for change. So here's your micro movement challenge. Choose one boundary. Use one script. Hold the line one time this week. And even if your voice shakes a little bit, that still counts. You did it. You crushed it. Because confidence isn't a feeling. Confidence is a practice. Okay, friend, let's land this. If you have been carrying too much, saying yes too fast, and feeling guilty every single time that you try to protect your time, this is your reminder. Boundaries aren't selfish. They are the structure that allows your best life to actually happen. Your peace gets to be part of the plan this year. So pick one, say it kindly, say it clearly, hold it consistently, and when guilt shows up, don't treat it like a stop sign. Treat it like proof that you're growing. I'm proud of you. Now go protect your spark, and I'll see you in the next episode. Well, that's it for today. Thanks for being here and for doing the work to lead yourself first. If this episode sparked something for you, take a second to subscribe, leave a review, or share it with another woman who's ready to own her leadership. And remember, the way you lead your life is the way you lead everything else. If you or your organization are looking for a speaker, an impactful workshop, or an executive coach, head over to lindsaymolder.com and let's connect. Keep showing up. Keep leading with spark. You got this. I'll see you next time.